India is being referred to as the next global superpower. With significant economic growth, India has become a sought-after international partner. So what's behind India's growth story? Narendra Modi has been in power for the last 10 years.
The Indian economy is doing well.
I am more optimistic today about India as a whole economically than I have been for a long time.
Most of the world's major financial institutions agree India is set to see significant economic growth.
भारत दुनिया की तीसरी सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था और 2047 तक भारत विकसित देश बन जाएगा।
Will India become a superpower? Will India become a developed economy in the coming years?
सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा. And it seems like the world agrees. India has surpassed Japan to claim the third spot in the Asia Power Index, marking a significant shift in the Asia-Pacific's geopolitical landscape, as per a statement by the IB Ministry.
But wait, is it all that rosy? Will India become a superpower or a developed economy by 2047, as the government claims?
India is a middle power on its way, according to some specialists, to become a great power, a superpower. This can be viewed from from the perspective of four different elements. So the economic power, the military might, and the diplomatic influence, which also sometimes incorporates the soft power.
A Vikasit Bharat, which is a developed India by 2047, cannot be achieved just by wishful thinking. You must have tangible goals.
So what is the real status? Is India growing? And most importantly, is it growing good so that India becomes a developed economy by 2047, as the government claims? Let us try to dig deeper into this matter. We will try to uncover the status of a country in some of the most prominent economic indicators like GDP, the gross domestic product, debt, economic equality, corruption, and innovation and technology. Let us first start with the gross domestic product of India. What is the status of India in the GDP? How do we rank here in terms of the GDP? For those who do not know, GDP of a country, the gross domestic product of a country, is equal to the total value of the goods and services produced in the country in that year.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says if he wins this election, he will propel India from the world's fifth largest economy to the third largest.
India will be the third largest economy soon.
Back on India Sense, we are talking about the rise of the Indian economy. It's set to surpass Japan by 2025. That is next year. It'll be the world's fourth largest economy.
Are these claims right? Indeed, yes. India is the fifth largest economy in the world in terms of its gross domestic product, or the GDP. You can see in the graph that India is only next to Japan in the GDP. But guys, please understand that India has the largest population in the world. We have our population spread from Jammu and Kashmir in the north to Kanyakumari in the south, from Gujarat in the west, and Arunachal Pradesh in the east. So with this large of a population, it is comparatively easier to achieve a high GDP. Because see, large population means more scope for production. But there are countries which do not have a large population as similar to India, yet they have a high GDP. For example, Japan. Japan, which is 1/6 of the population of India, is ahead of India in terms of the GDP. Hence, we can see that although the GDP provides a fair picture of the growth of the country, it does not give a complete picture. A much better idea of the real growth can be gauged from another indicator, that is the GDP per capita. For those who do not know, the GDP per capita of a country is the ratio of the GDP of a country divided by its total population. As compared to the GDP per capita gives a much broader and a much accurate picture of the real economic situation and the living standards of people in a country. As per the International Monetary Fund, IMF, the current GDP per capita of India is around $3,000 US dollar, and India stands at rank 141 in the list of countries in terms of the GDP per capita. One of the reasons of the low GDP per capita of India is its large population. The more the population of a country is, the lower is its GDP per capita. However, China, which has a population similar to that of India, has a GDP per capita 6 times that of India. Hence, we can conclude that having a high GDP and a lower GDP per capita is no excuse for India. We need to have much better participation from the rural population of India in the production of goods and services, which will increase the GDP also and which will increase the GDP per capita of India. The GDP of India is majorly contributed by the urban crowd, and we need more participation from the rural population of India to have a better GDP per capita, and to elevate the living standards of people. This is a house of a billionaire in India. This is how they party. Forget billionaires. This is a house of a common millionaire in India. This is the car, and these are the places they visit for a holiday. This is where they shop. This is where they eat. While the millionaires and the billionaires are only a small portion of the population. As per a CNN report, about 60% of India's population lives on less than $3.10 per day. For this side of the Indian population, these are the places where they live. These are the vehicles they ride. These are the places they get their water from. The point I'm trying to make here is that India is facing a pressing problem of economic disparity or economic inequality. Currently, only 1% of the Indian population capture 32% of the wealth, and 10% capture 64% of the wealth of the Indian economy. But I believe that this is improving. We have more billionaires and billionaires as we had 20 years ago. Earlier, we only knew of Tata and Birla, but now the list of billionaires and millionaires in India, the rich people in India, is ever growing with new startups and fundings. Let us now talk about debt. When we are talking about the debt of a country, we are mainly talking about the aggregate or sum of all the budget deficits over the years. Budget deficit in a given year is the difference between the money that the government spends and the revenue it gets from taxes and other means. The government debt increases at the time of crisis like COVID-19, when the spending of the government is high, whereas the revenue of the government is low from taxes. The debt scenario in India is not too bad, and it is quite manageable. The best indicator for gauging the debt scenario of a country is by gauging its debt to GDP ratio. Simply put, it is the ratio of the debt of a country to its GDP, and it is represented in percent. The lesser the ratio is, the easier it is for the government to pay off the debt. Having a high debt to GDP ratio means the government has to divert a majority of the revenue that it gets from taxes and other means in paying off the interest for the debts. India's debt to GDP ratio as recorded in 2023 was 81.59%. I would say that it is still manageable because India is a growing country and we are growing with a growth rate of almost 7% year over year. Our debt to GDP ratio is much lower than other developed countries like the Canada, USA, UK, Singapore. But I am in no way saying that we can go complacent on our debt scenario. We need to reduce our debt by following certain measures like by following fiscal austerity, educating the population of India to increase its GDP, increasing our manufacturing, and also easing the regulations to increase the foreign investments in India. In fact, one thing that comes to my mind regarding fiscal austerity or reducing the government spending is a large infrastructure spending that the government does, which at times is also not necessary. We should for sure be beware of developing such weak infrastructure that collapses in just a short span of time. These projects only add to the government spending without having any long-lasting benefits for the people of the country. And of course, they cause losses to the human life also. Some of these recent collapses are the Delhi airport roof collapse, Jabalpur airport canopy collapse, multiple bridges collapse in Bihar, Kolkata flyover collapse, Bengaluru building collapse, and so more.
आप अपने स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि हम लैंड मॉड्यूल
Now let us talk about the state of technology and innovation in India. India has been a land of technocrats, visionaries and innovators, and we have always added technical stuff, technical knowledge to the world. We have some of the biggest IT services firms in the world like TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, Infosys, HCL Technologies, Wipro and Tech Mahindra. However, we lack software development and technology innovation companies like the Google, Facebook, Tesla, Salesforce, and all these Western companies who develop their products and have patent for these products. The difference is that these technology innovation companies have their patent products which rule the global market and bring revenue to the country. Nevertheless, we are pretty good in IT and ICT services and their export. ICT is Information Communication Technology. ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology Services, and it consists of all the software services and also the communication services like the telephones, mobile phones. India's ICT services export has increased from $67.2 billion in 2012 to a staggering $163 billion in 2023. In fact, India is one of the leading exporters of IT and ICT services in the world. As per the data released by World Bank in 2022, in terms of ICT services, India was ahead of US, China, the UK, Germany, and Canada. One of the reasons for our leadership in IT and ICT services is our cheap yet quality labor that we get in India. Multinational companies have always established their global service delivery centers in India for the cheap yet quality labor of engineers, software developers, technocrats, and all these visionaries in the IT and ICT sector. Look at the table released by the World Integrated Trade Organization WITO of the list of the top ICT services exporters. India is leading with a rank 2 and is just behind Ireland.
1 जुलाई 2015 देश ने देखा एक सपना.
I dream of a digital India where high-speed digital highways unite the nation. I dream of a digital India where government is open and governance is transparent. I dream of a digital India where the world looks to India for the next big idea.
Hot topic. The world is following India's leadership on digital infrastructure and technology. Why do you think what's being built in India today is really going to be influential over the next decade?
And now let's shift focus to digital India. It has become a force to reckon with, and the world is watching. The most recent example is the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF. It has lauded India's digital public infrastructure. It has called it world-class.
So what is the state of the digital India? Have we kept up to our promises? I would say yes. We are doing good in digitalization, and the Digital India promise is going good. We have digitalized payments, food ordering, grocery ordering, cab ordering, railway tickets, airline tickets, and more. As per a 2024 report by the Center for Internet and Digital Economy, India ranks third in the digital transformation based on parameters like digital infrastructure, innovation, and public sector engagement in the sector. Our UPI payments have been a global standout, facilitating payments of about $1.5 billion in the lending and credit space to help small businesses to flourish. We have yet another innovation called the account aggregator. This helps small businesses with limited financial backgrounds or asset-backed collaterals with loans and credits to run their businesses. Furthermore, we have witnessed rising global patent applications from 22,476 in 2014 to a staggering 65,204 applications in 2023. This is almost a 3 times growth. For those who do not know, a patent is a legal document which gives its owner the legal right to exclude others from using, selling, or claiming an invention for a limited period of time. We are at rank 6 globally, only behind China, USA, Japan, Korea, and Germany in terms of the global patent applications, in terms of the number of patents that we have for new technology innovations. This implies that India is doing good in terms of innovations, inventions, new inventions, and new innovation. In fact, the top applications for patents or the top applicants for patents in 2021 to 2023 have been TVS Motor Company, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Indian Institute of Technology, IITs, and Geo Platforms Limited.
देश के सबसे बड़े घोटाले की रिपोर्ट आज संसद में पेश कर दी गई। सीएजी ने 2G स्पेक्ट्रम से भी बड़ा घोटाला कोयला आवंटन को माना।
The Commonwealth Games 2010 Delhi are now open. Let the games begin.
देश का सबसे बड़ा खेल आयोजन कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स। इस गेम्स को कामयाब बनाने की जिम्मेदारी जिन अधिकारियों पर है, अगर उनके कारनामे हम आपको बताएं तो आपकी आंखें फटी की फटी रह जाएंगी।
The footbridge near the main stadium collapsed, injuring at least 20 construction workers.
Braving scorching heat and a heavy police presence, students across India have been protesting for days. For them, everything is at stake. They're furious over suspected cheating at the highest level of their national exams.
What can I say? Whatever is happening is very strange. Everywhere cheating is happening. There's no discipline.
It is not a hidden fact that corruption is rife or widespread in India in all the sectors, including public sector and private sector. I would say corruption is the biggest detrimental for growth in India. We need systems and frameworks which are corruption free to harness growth and better policies for the society in India. Okay, so let us talk about some numbers on the corruption in India. As per a global report on corruption published in 2023, India ranks 93rd among the 180 countries considered. So this means that there are about 92 countries which are better than India in terms of corruption. We have a score of 39, with 0 being highly corrupt and 100 being very clean. We can see clearly that the developed countries like Germany, UK, Switzerland, Singapore all have high CPI indices. To conclude, I would say that India's growth story is neither real nor fake. Rather, it is evolving. And we can reach our full potential if we can rectify some of the most pressing challenges of corruption, economic inequalities, lack of strong and prudent legal, financial, medical, and research institutions. We have in fact capitalized pretty well on our population, on our skill force, that has made India the 5th largest economy in the world in terms of its GDP. We are not so good in the GDP per capita, which implies lesser participation from the entire population of India in contributing to the growth of the country or in contributing to the productivity of the country. The majority of the wealth, income, and quality life should not only be accessible to the top 1% or 10% of the population of India only. We should eradicate this economic inequality and work towards spreading and distributing this wealth and income evenly to the population of India. We in fact started at the same state as Japan and China were post World War II. We were all devastated. In fact, Japan was all devastated by the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings. However, Japan and China have become developed nations. And India is still fighting its challenges of corruption, low level of education, brain drains, and health care and economic inequalities, and so many more. But we should be happy with our performances in IT services, ICT services, and digitalization. We should promote investments and similar enthusiasms in the nascent technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and quantum mechanics. Although I have not covered every possible indicators or parameters to gauge the India's growth story, I have touched on the most prominent ones. If you want, you can comment and I can bring in a second part to this video, which will uncover things like education, government spending, law and order, ease of doing business, and more. For now, if you like this video, please like and subscribe as it will boost me to bring in further videos backed by solid research, as this video was. The sources of this video are mentioned in the description box, so do refer them also for the accuracy of the data. Till then, thanks and have a good day.